Well, the Phillies are back in the win column. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Phillies Hot Stove Media and to recap in tonight's game between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays as the Phillies defeat the Blue Jays by a final score of 4-3 as they snap the 5-game losing skid as they finally collect a win here and split this quick 2-game series with the Jays. Now, guys, before again in this video, subscribe if you haven't yet. Please turn on that notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. Matt Vierling collects a walk-off RBI single tonight. So finally the Phillies are back in the win column, collect their 81st victory of the season as they remain 2.5 up above the Milwaukee Brewers, who did win today against the New York Mets. So thankfully they were able to do that. This had all the makings of a Phillies loss. It had a Phillies loss written all over it. The Phillies were just basically handed opportunities all throughout this ballgame and could not take advantage, and they finally did. The Blue Jays just did whatever they could to try to hand the Phillies the victory in this one. And the Phillies finally took advantage after time of not taking advantage. But you know what? They did. A win is a win, ladies and gentlemen. Just like a loss is a loss, a win is a win. You know what I mean? So thankfully, they were finally able to collect a win here. I was just so tired of watching this team lose day in and day out. Hopefully, we could split the series with the Braves. I mean, that's like the best case scenario. Of course, we got to see 45 back on the mound tonight. Zach Wheeler, he was back in action. It's been quite some time. We'll talk about him a little bit later. Noah Syndergaard throws 2 solid innings. Cerny Dominguez continues to look very, very shaky. Now, granted, of course, the defense didn't really help him out there in that inning. I mean, Bryson Stott with 3 errors in the past 2 nights. This is a guy that's been playing fundamentally sound shortstop all season long, but for whatever reason why, the past 2 nights he has not been looking so good out on the defensive side. That is for sure. So Bryce Harper continues to struggle, but you know what? A win is a win. You know what I mean? I really just don't care. I care about winning baseball games. That's all I care about. I care about winning baseball games and making the playoffs. And not having longest playoff drought in baseball, right? Because you know that the Seattle Mariners are virtually a lock to make it, which would make the Phillies the longest stretch without making the playoffs. Think about that. As we pick up the scoring summary here in the top of the 8th inning, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. homers on a line drive to left center field. That ball was absolutely destroyed. A 3-run blast that scores Whit Merrifield and George Springer, and the Blue Jays now lead 3-0. So you pretty much had a routine, tailor-made double play ball hit to Bryson Stott, and he shovels the ball into center field. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, it was a double play that should have been so easy to turn. They basically were handed a double play on a silver platter by the Toronto Blue Jays, and they completely botched it. Then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits the ball 300 miles an hour to left field. I mean, that ball was an absolute rocket. It was a no-doubter. It was a loud sound. The ball went out with velocity. His 30th tank of the season, so 3-0 Blue Jays. Then we pick it up here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The BCIB does it again. Back-to-back nights he is homered. As he homers on a fly ball to left field, his 21st of the season. It's now a 3-1 ball game, so the Phillies got on the board. Finally, JT Realmuto. Of course, he was able to collect 2 knocks tonight. So another productive night for the BCIB, man. This man has just turned his season around in such an incredible way. We'll talk about him more a little bit later. Then we pick it up here in the same inning. Dalton Guthrie does it again as he singles on a line drive to right field. Gene Segura comes around to score, and it's now a 3-2 ball game. So, I mean, I think it's gotten to the point now with all these injuries and some guys not being productive, am I right? I think it's the time you got to play this guy almost every single day. Because he's certainly being productive, right? I mean, he was productive last night. He was productive tonight. So I fully expect to see him in this Braves series. Of course, he's still, finding his way in the big leagues. But, I mean, this is another guy, yet again, another guy, coming up here and just being a bright spot for this Phillies team. You've seen a lot of it. You talk about depth. You talk about a playoff team, and playoff teams have a good amount of depth. There's no question about that, clearly. Then we pick it up here in the same inning. Kyle Schwarber singles on a sharp line drive to right field. Dalton Guthrie comes around to score, and the Phillies now tied at 3. So Kyle Schwarber gets the job done right there. I mean, that's all we needed. That's all we needed. We didn't need a home run right there. You know what I mean? We just needed the run to come around and score. I mean, any way you got to do it, right? And of course, I'm glad to see that he did something other than hitting a home run or striking out. I was stunned, absolutely shocked. The Phillies are already showing signs of bearing down and not putting up any fight, and I certainly didn't think they were going to put up any fight, especially after the Guerrero Jr. 3-run blast. But they did. They didn't give up, and I give them a lot of credit for that. I really, really do. Then we pick it up here in the bottom of the 10th inning. The Blue Jays absolutely get really unlucky in the top of the 10th inning. Spectacular play by Gene Segura ends that inning. And then Matt Vierling, single-sided ground ball to center field. Nice chopper up the middle. George Springer doesn't even get in front of the baseball, just starts running in. Of course, he knew the ball game was over. The bases loaded. Yaniel Munoz crosses the plate, and the Phillies win it 4-3. So how about that? 4 unanswered runs for the Phils as they come back and win and split the series with the Jays. Thank God. Thank God. Of course, that would have been our longest losing streak if we would have lost tonight. 6-game losing streak since June of 2019. So that's how long it would have been. But luckily, we avoid that. And we're still in the mix, right? We're still in the mix. Kyle Schwarber out of the leadoff spot. Only one hit was a big one, the RBI single that tied the game in the bottom of the 8th inning. So I love it, right? I mean, just in the top of the 8th inning, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits that 3-run blast, and then just in the bottom of the inning, we come back and tie up the ball game. I love to see that, right? I mean, that's aggressiveness, and it's a sign of a team that doesn't want to give up. Honestly, as I said, I mean, tonight we saw a lot of signs of a team that does want to give up. Schwarber also strikes out twice tonight as well. And Rhys Hoskins, a couple golden opportunities with the scoring position, and he, of course, does nothing. He's incapable of collecting a clutch hit. As Julian said in the comment section today, a lot of these guys, Bryce Harper's been terrible with runners in scoring position. Terrible, terrible, terrible. He does not look like he has his head in the game at all. Last night, just totally running off the second base when there's not even 2 outs. This is not who that guy is. I just tell you that right now. I mean, he does not play the game like that. So I'm not sure what in the world's going on with Bryce Harper. He looks lost. An 0 for 5 night, striking out twice, a 293 average. It says the red line. It just keeps going lower and lower and lower and lower. He looks terrible. No other way to say it. JT Muto, 2 knocks tonight. The solo blast is 21st of the season, also striking out once as well. 279 average for the BCIB. 21 home runs, 81 RBIs, 839 OPS for JT. So he just keeps getting better and better. So I love it, man. I mean, this guy's just showing no signs of slowing down at all. Album collects 2 singles as he gets to start at third. 289 average now for Bohm. Bryson Stott goes hitless tonight. So he's not doing anything at the plate. He's certainly not doing anything out, defensively at short. He's been very disappointing, clearly, as I mentioned before. Gene Segura with a 1-hit night tonight as well. Dalton Guthrie comes off the bench to pinch hit and delivers that RBI single, and he also was able to draw a walk in a really big spot. I'm not sure why in the world they're walking him there. And Matt Vierling with a 5 for 5 night as he collects an RBI single to win the game for the Phils. And a very interesting stat here from Scott Lauber. Matt Vierling is the first Phillies player with 5 or more hits in a game, including a walk-off hit since Milt Thompson on August 11, 1987 versus the Chicago Cubs. Interesting note, Nick Castellanos did this last season for the Cincinnati Reds when they faced the Chicago Cubs. So that's interesting. Nick Castellanos, speaking of him, right? I mean, we haven't heard much out of him, right? He's just been sitting there in the dugout. I understand he's still battling an injury, but we have heard nothing from the media. I don't know when in the world he's coming back. Hopefully soon. I'd like to see him back out there again. 12 hits for the Phils on 4 runs. The Blue Jays 7 hits on 3 runs. Of course, the Blue Jays, they were handling a lot of opportunities too. They easily could have won this game. Both teams are, guilty of that. There's such bad fundamentals in this game, both sides. But I'm more focused on what the Phillies are doing. I don't really care what our opponent does. Of course, I want to win. We draw 4 walks tonight, strike out 11 times. Zach Lear, 4 innings, 2 hits, didn't allow any runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts, a 2.98 ERA. His velocity is where I think it should be. Of course, I don't fully expect him to be, going all out on that. You know what I mean? This is his first game back in a while. Of course, there was no rehab for Zach Wheeler. This was kind of his rehab start. He really, really impressed me tonight. And Noah Syndergaard, 2 innings, 3 hits, didn't allow any runs, no walks, and 2 strikeouts, a 4.12 ERA. And I'm not sure how he's going to take on this new role. He's the kind of guy that has a big ego and wants to be in a big spot. He's competitive, he wants to win, and he wants to be a big contributor in winning. And he wants to be involved. So I'm not sure how he's going to take being in the bullpen. I mean, he seems to be okay with it. I don't really know what choice he has, but I don't really feel any sympathy for the guy simply because of the amount of money he's being owed, $20+ million. But it's very interesting, and I kind of like that they kind of tag team that tonight. I think they expect a little bit more length out of Syndergaard. I certainly expect a little bit more length out of Syndergaard, but hey, it is what it is. And of course, they brought in Jose Alvarado, who's just been absolutely wonderful since he came back from AAA way back in the spring. An inning, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts, a 3.50 ERA for Alvarado. And Sir Anthony Dominguez, a third of an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, only 2 of them were earned, 2 walks. Listen, I mean, I'm not happy with what he's been doing. He's been very disappointing. How his velo was back up again tonight. I mean, he's hitting like 98 on his sinker. I really was digging that. I really, really was. I mean, he was starting to throw some velocity again. But as I said before, I mean, even though Jose Alvarado in the past, just because you have some heat behind your pitches doesn't mean it's going to be effective. And I'll be honest with you, I really, really think that inning unraveled there in the top of the 8th because of the Bryson Stott botched double play. If that double play would have been made, I do not think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would have went deep right there. I mean, I just think that in that situation, under the pressure, he made a big mistake to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And I think the mentality would have changed if it just would have been 2 out, nobody on. I mean, clearly, it's going to be a much different situation, with first and third, nobody out, to nobody on, 2 out. I mean, clearly, that's a really big change right there. Definitely would have changed the mentality, 100%. Nick Nelson, 2/3 innings, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And David Robertson pitches a clean 1-2-3, top of the 9th inning, collecting a walk. We was able to get out of it. And Andrew Bellotti, an inning, 2 walks in that top of the 9th inning. I mean, just crazy. It's always something. Luckily we're able to get out of that. I mean, my goodness gracious, he gets to win now 4-3 in the year. The Phillies somehow split a series against these guys. I mean, this had all the makings of a Phillies loss. I think I don't know. I just had a feeling we were going to lose going into tonight, and luckily we didn't. They proved me wrong. 7:15 to first pitch tomorrow night against the Braves. Max Fried 13-6 with a 2.52 ERA. Ranger Suarez takes the hill for the Phils 9-5 with a 3.53 ERA. Luckily we're at home. We're not at Truist Park, where we really, really struggle. But this is going to be another tough series. We're facing pretty much the same guys we saw down in Atlanta. This past weekend. So that's really disappointing. That's not going to be fun. And of course the Braves and the Mets still, in dead heat right now. I mean, of course the Braves are only 1 game back. So they're not going to let up. Of course they want to beat us. We're the division rival. 7-5 the first pitch Friday. Order Rizzi 5-5 with a 4.04 ERA going against Aaron Nola. 9-12 with a 3.38 ERA. Saturday 4-5. Kyle Wright 19-5 with a 3.18 ERA going against Bailey Falter. 5-3 with a 3.68 ERA. Sunday for the finale, Fan Appreciation Day, 1:05 the first pitch. Kyle Gibson, the wonderful Kyle Gibson. Oh boy. Get ready to get the bullpen well rested for that one because he's not going to go very deep. 10-7 with a 4.71 ERA, and Charlie Morton 9-6 with a 4.09 ERA. But we have done well against Charlie Morton this year, so I'm pretty hopeful we could do something against him there. So hopefully we could just split. Please split. I think we can. My gut tells me we take 1 out of 3, but I really hope I'm wrong. But please split the series. I mean, that's all I want. Especially when you have 7 games against teams that are way below that 500 mark. And of course, the final 3 games of the season are going to be tough. But you got to take it 1 day at a time. 1 inning at a time, 1 pitch at a time. You have to take it slowly. So that is pretty much it. The Phillies salvaged the final game against the Blue Jays. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Please turn on that notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Check out the social media link in the description section at Phillies Hot Soup Media, Instagram, Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at Hot Soup Media. Card text 267-225-3292. Email me, phillieshotsoup@gmail.com. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Luke, and I'll talk to you later. Let's go Phillies. See you guys.